Hi everyone! In this video we will solve a coin word problem. Your young neighbor has a collection of dimes and quarters with a total value of $3.45. The number of dimes is 4 less than the number of quarters. How many of each coin does he have? The first thing is that we have two unknowns, and so we'll need a variable to represent both of those. Since dime starts with D, I'm going to use D for dimes, and quarter starts with Q, so I'll use Q for quarters. Now, dimes are 10 cents, and quarters are 25 cents. The D represents the number of dimes, and Q represents the number of quarters. If we multiply the value times the number and add them together, we'll get the total, which we were told is $3.45. And since 0 is just 0, I'm going to just round this to 0.1 D plus 0.25 Q equals $3.45. Now we can translate the second sentence. The number of dimes, which we use the variable D, means equals. For less than, that reverses the order, so it will be subtract 4. The number of quarters, which we decided would be the variable Q, which represents the number of quarters, and there's our second equation. D equals Q minus 4. Now that we have our second equation, we can substitute Q minus 4 every time we see D in the first equation. So we end up with 0.1 times parenthesis Q minus 4 to substitute all of that in for D, plus 0.25 Q equals 3.45. Now we can work with all of the decimals as they are, or we could get rid of them. To get rid of them, we count all of the decimal places and pick the highest and multiply both sides. Multiply that by a multiple of 10 with the same number of zeros as the highest place value. In this case 2, so we'll multiply both sides by 100. So we multiply it into both terms, keeping in mind that this is one term separated by the plus sign. Don't multiply it into both of here because with the commutative property, we're multiplying these together first. So the place value moves 2 place values to the right, making this 10 times Q minus 4, plus move the place value 2 to the right, 25Q, and 2 place values to the right gives us 345. Now we can do the distributive property, which gives us 10Q minus 40 plus 25Q equals 345. Now we can combine like terms, giving us 35Q minus 40 equals 345. We can isolate the variable by adding 40 to both sides. And I ran out of room, so we'll come up here. This gives us 35Q equals 385. Now to isolate the variable, we'll divide both sides by 35. And we're left with Q equals 385 divided by 35 in my calculator is 11. So there's 11 quarters. Now that we know that, we can substitute it back into one of the original equations to find D. Since the second equation is already solved for D, it'll speed us up to use that one. So I'm choosing D equals Q minus 4. We'll substitute 11 in for Q, so we get D equals 11 minus 4, which means there are 7 dimes. To write this out more formally, we'll say there are 11 quarters, and that there are 7 dimes, and we're all done.